Hi there, this is Chris with Peace of Mind, and I'm bringing you the second part of the series that I was doing on some more of my sewing books. And these books are great to use for keep all your sewing supplies in. And I do have these available in my Etsy shop, and I will be putting them in soon. But also, you could make your own if you want to, and I will link the full tutorial on how to make the whole thing, including the actual sewing in of the book and the pages and so on. But I'm down to decorating my last one. I haven't put any of the inside stuff in yet. These books do include like needles and pins and safety pins and different sewing and a little pair of scissors and so on. So I will be doing that in the next video, part 3 of this, and showing you all 7, I think there's 7 of the books that I made. And it will be just kind of a quick flip through. So say that fast. Quick flip through. Okay, so a lot of these books I used a slow stitch heart on the front. Some of them I used pieces of embroidery. This one happens to have the slow stitch, which can be used as a pocket. And so I've left it open a bit. This is really too big to fit in here, but you can see it'll go down in there if it's smaller. To hold something, you could even hold your scissors here or whatever else you want. This one has the slow stitch heart with the butterfly and some roses. This has some roses on this side with some lace, and it ties on the side with a bias tape ribbon. Okay, so this is what it looks like undecorated. I've got 6 pages of felt, actually 7 with the one that's in the middle. I put one in the middle that's a little bit smaller. You could make them all different sizes in your book if you want. Doesn't matter, whatever inspires you. Usually on the inside and the back, I put pockets usually, so that we can store things in the pockets. Today, I think I'm going to, let me get my lace box. I've got several lace boxes, but this is what one of them looks like. Just different laces and ribbons and stuff in there that I use. I think I'm going to use this lace for across the front and the back. This is kind of a linen fabric, and then it also has some lace going across the front of it. I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller so that it doesn't get caught up in any of the folds. And this one you'd want to cut the size before you glue it down. Well, I've got the ribbon out. I'm going to measure one for the back. This is a wired ribbon, so I'm going to, see, I need to trim that a bit, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than I need to. See if I can get this one a little bit straighter. Okay, and this one I'm going to try to get trimmed off just a little bit. I'm using my paper scissors because I'm cutting through the wire, and I don't want to do that with my good fabric scissors. So I've already talked about glue to make these books. Whenever you're gluing fabric to fabric, and especially the felt, you'll need to use the fabric tack glue. I've tried all other kinds of glue. I've tried special glues made for felt, and I have found that this works the best. So, first of all, I'm going to take the the pieces of wire out. And actually these pieces of wire, if you do any work with wire at all, like stringing beads, this is a great wire because it's very, very thin. So especially if you have a longer piece, you might want to save it for another day for making something else. Still pretty warm here, even though it's September. It's been about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than, or hotter, I should say, because it's hot. Yesterday it broke a record. I'm in Colorado. But it is, after another couple days, it is supposed to cool down a bit, so that'll be nice. Be more fall-like. I am ready for fall. Usually I love summer so much, but this year it has been so hot, and I do not like air conditioning. And here in Colorado, there's no humidity, so if the temperatures stay, you know, like 85 or under, a lot of times you don't need your air conditioning to come on, except for maybe a couple hours of the day. And we're just having to live in it, like, I guess, like everybody else. And I don't like that. I like to be able to sleep with the windows open and a nice fresh air coming in. But that'll happen soon. Okay, so as you'll notice, I put on 3 sides. I put the glue on. Now I'm pressing it down. Just, you can use a wet wipe, not super wet, but to press it down. Excuse me. And I'll do this one also. And you don't need a whole lot of this glue to hold fabric to fabric. And I would suggest, even when you're gluing down paper in these books, I would use the fabric tack rather than the art glitter glue. Okay, so I've got the front and the back. Done. And I would wait for that to dry. Decide what I'm going to put in these pockets. Now in each book I have been putting a couple of things, and usually I put them in the front and the back. One is a little notepad that I made out of some, this was actually made out of another notepad that had this paper that had the little tomato pin cushions on it, which I liked. I'm going to put that in, and that's for, you know, for you to jot down some notes about your sewing projects, or maybe to take with you when you shop for supplies that you need. Okay, let's see, I need a needle book. Let me check my supplies and see if I can find a needle book. I should have another one. There we go. What these are, and I get these at Hobby Lobby, is they are a little book with needles that are made out of cardboard, with needles that are already threaded in there. And I just include these in my sewing book as a little bonus. Some of the sewing books won't have these in them because I can't always find them, but this series will have one in there. So put that one in the back, in the front. Usually the next the next thing that I do is, on the next page, I like to use a kind of a belly band type of thing so that you can put pins and needles in it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's use this one with the bird. Okay. And I usually center it. You don't have to center it. You can put it to one side or the other if you want. Okay, so I also need to take the wire out of this. I love this wire ribbon. Sometimes I do use the wire in it, but most often I take it out, because then it becomes a piece of fabric that I can use. And as you know, I love fabric. Okay. So I'm going to glue this at the top and the bottom. Also, you could just glue it at the top. But, I don't know, I think it makes it a little bit more secure to glue it at the top and the bottom. Sometimes I would also put something else at the top of this, like you would on a fabric clip. You could put some trim or lace across the top. But I'll just leave it like this because I like having those birds show. Okay. And this could be a place where you stick pins and needles in here. What I try to avoid when I'm making these books is when I put needles and pins into the pages, I try to avoid putting them right into the felt so that when you turn the page, there you have a pin and you might get your finger or whatever on it. So I try to avoid that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to work on is this page. I love this little girl. She's so sweet. Don't know if I can fit. I'm going to try to fit a pair of scissors in here. Now, I was putting folding scissors in the books, but I haven't been able to find those. And I was putting smaller scissors in the book that I found at the dollar store, but I haven't been able to find those. So some of these books will have the smaller scissors, but most of them will have like a pair of child scissors or something that will come with them. And it's just so that you can have something that... Now, this particular piece of cardboard that I printed on and cut out is too narrow for these scissors, and so that won't work. So I need to find something else. Kind of like this. I don't know if that's going to hold it very good, or if I'll need to put that onto paper. Let me see what else I have. Could use this and put it in the side. No. This might work. I only have to cut out the bottom of this though, but that's okay. And I make sure I put this glue quite close to the sides so that it doesn't it makes it wider. Whoopsie. Oh. Okay, and then I'll put this down to the bottom of the page so that there'll be room for those scissors to fit in there. And those scissors will go in there later. I'll wait and put those in till this is completely dry, since they're kind of thick. Okay. I think what I'll do is decorate this middle page. Should I put some lace on here? Do that. If you guys shop at Hobby Lobby, I found some, they evidently must be clearing out their ribbon because they put a lot of them on clearance. And so I got some really good buys on ribbon in the last couple of weeks. Of course, I haven't been able to go to like 3 different Hobby Lobbies, so that helps me with them. Okay, now this, I'm putting the, since this lace has like little holes in it, I'm putting the glue on to the felt first, and then I'm pressing my lace down, and I can use a paper towel to blot up any excess that comes up through those holes. Okay. And you may notice that the pages on here, like this page and this page, they're not equal, they're not even. But, you know, that's the handmade quality of it. So I don't worry about that. I like my work to be neat and clean looking, but I don't worry about it being, if something is not exactly straight, or, you know, if you did that, then you would quit working on something because it would drive you nuts because it wasn't perfect. And I am definitely, and so glad that I'm not, a perfectionist. Okay, then I have, you remember we made these things just a bit ago. In these are 2 of my Little Bits videos. This was the ruffled flower, and then this was the ruffled fabric that I then applied the flower to. So I'm going to use this. I'm not sure yet where I want it. I might put it on this last page. Since this is kind of rather plain on here, so I think I might put it on here. And what I would use this for is to go in between the parts of the lace and even the flower to put some pins and needles on. So I glue it at the top and the bottom, and because it's so heavy, I probably will glue it also across the back to make sure that it kind of stays centered. Now make sure that when you're using this glue that you use a well-ventilated area. It's not toxic or anything, but it is a little bit smelly, and you don't want to be inhaling it all day long. Okay, so another page done. What I think I'll do on here is I will do the in each sewing book journal, I call it. I do a button page, and I usually take a piece of lace, and I put that across the top. Once again, I'm gluing on the felt instead of on the lace. So that way I can press it down and get the excess off. Okay, and this one I do want to leave loose because I try to put my cap on my fabric tack whenever I'm not going to be using it for a few moments to keep it from drying out. I know. Here we go. Here's my buttons. And every book will include a little bag of buttons. And you can add to it as you go. I think this would be a good place for you to keep, you know, when you buy a blouse or even a coat or really any kind of apparel that has buttons on it. They sometimes give you little extra buttons. This would be a good place to keep those buttons for mending later on. Okay, and for this, I use a great big giant safety pin. Trying to get it out without putting my hands into the needles. Now, when you are making this book, I would suggest before you to wait until after you finish it to put all the needles and pins and all that stuff in there, because otherwise you could, as you're working on it, you could end up hurting yourself on something that was sticking out, especially if you're as clumsy as I am. Okay, so that took care of the problem of not putting that safety pin through the felt. Otherwise it would show in the back. It would show on this page. So that took care of that. That's the buttons. And usually on the button page I put some, I love this so much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny little pocket down here out of the same quilted fabric that I made the cover of the book with. Gonna glue that down. Oops, see, I didn't get it straight. I don't, like I said, don't have to be exact, but that was a really crooked. Oh, now that would bother me. Okay. So first of all, I need to check if this isn't going to even work. Yeah, it'll work. And then this can act as a journal card also, because the back is... Okay, as I was saying, this card, the back of it is blank, so that'll make a great journaling card. And put that right in here. And I decorated it up with some buttons. I could put some lace on here if I wanted to. Like that. So actually, put this, here's the scissors page. So we got that made. Sometimes I just put like little butterflies or flowers or something down on the corners of the page, just to give it a little something on it, because I know the people are going to want to add their own things to the journal, paper clip things in and so on. But just to give it a little bit more decoration. And I also like to put on a page that has a measuring device of some sort. So just in case you have your book and you just need to measure something that's like 4 or 5 inches, then you'll have this right in the book, and then you can just measure a piece very quickly. Okay, and I'll put the glue on the back of that. Hope y'all are doing well and had a good Labor Day weekend. I remember when I was working full-time, it was always so nice to have a 3-day weekend. Even if you didn't do anything much, it still was nice to have those 3 days off in a row where you can just kind of relax. And of course get some crafts done. Okay, let's put in a page for to put some embroidery floss in. It's a cute page. Starting to run out of some of the papers that I used, so I'll have to print some more. Okay, I'm gonna put this in as a pocket. And usually I like to have a pocket for some embroidery floss, or really any kind of thread that you use. And I also like to make a pocket to hold some of these tags that I make. All I do is cut up some paper. Okay, here's one. All I do is cut up some paper and then wind some thread around it to kind of give you an idea that this is what you can use that for. So later on when the glue dries, then I'll put that embroidery floss down in there. These pages I use to put pins and needles on, and then these pages I might decorate them in some way, but I don't usually have any pockets or anything on there. Maybe let's put a belly band in here. First of all, I like to see if it goes with the colors on the front, and it kind of does, so I'll use that. Oops. See, I left my glue open, and that's what happens. It starts to kind of bubble over. So you're wasting your glue, which I don't do that too often, but I do every once in a while. And this is like a fabric flip. I usually just use one piece of fabric. Do that down, and then that can be used. Looking for a pin. Here we go. That can be used, to hold pins. Like so. Like I said, in the next video, I'll show you books that are finished that have all the supplies in them. This is, oh, I know what this is. It's, see the way that's separating? That's the quilted fabric. I just need to put that down. I'm using a little bit of glue on all 3 layers of that. There we go. Oops, I've got this, got these 2 pages yet. I'm putting the embroidery floss in for a little pocket. There we go. There we go. This is for the scissors. I think I can pop those in there now. Okay, so what I have left is I need a pocket for the thread. So I love these little birds, so I'm gonna put those on this side as another fabric flip and a place to put pins and needles and stuff on there. Safety pins, whatever, every kind of sewing and craft you do. I've even put in my sewing book, I've even put some bowl pins on one of these, you know, in case I need it. And that way I have it right at hand. Okay, so let's decide where I'm going to put the little sewing. Okay, I've got another one of these. Go use that. Okay. And if you guys are looking for the quilted fabric, I get mine at either Joann's or Hobby Lobby has it also. Also, when I first started using it, I had leftovers from a king-size quilt that I had used as a backing for a regular size quilt, so I had quite a bit of it left, and it was really a nice one. It was like quilted in a pattern, and wish I still had some more of that. Put a little piece of this flower stuff on here. Ooh, see, it came bubbling out. Okay, there we go. So this is where I could put these little strips of paper that can hold the thread wrapped around them, or you can put anything else in that pocket that you might want. Okay, so let me show you from the start. Here's the front where you can decorate the cover. You can put something in this little pocket. Oops, put my cap on my glue. pocket in the front for a little notepad. So you can put some pins and needles in there. Here's your scissors in a little pocket. Here's another pocket with some embroidery floss. Here's your, you don't have to use a, but these are not real expensive, these tape measures. So you can find one for usually a couple of dollars, and of course you don't need the whole thing, you can cut it up. If you are making your own book, you could probably just keep the whole thing in the book, the whole tape measure, in a pocket or something. Here's the inside of the book, where you could put some charms in here if you wanted to, dangling. Here's a little fabric flip. Here's the pocket with the little card. As I sit here and sew, I work with a happy heart, for I fasten in joy, I fasten in hope, and all of good things apart. Oh, that's so sweet. And here's the button page, button bag. Here's where some more thread can be wrapped around. Another piece of fabric to hang things from. Here's another, this ruffle, the way you can put needles and pins. And here's the back pocket with a needle book. Closes on the side. It's kind of thick, so, but that's the nature of these things, right? Okay, so my next video I will show you 7 more books, or 6 more books besides this one. And I look forward to seeing you come back. Thanks for joining me today. If you have not subscribed, I would love it if you would. Comment, hit the like button if you can. And I will see you the next time. Peace of mind.